Oh, hey folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan from the golden age of wrestling. And I just want to tell you guys are watching the best arcade and gaming podcast on YouTube. That's the Super GameRoom Dudes. You understand that, tough guys? The best arcade gaming podcast on YouTube. So check it out. The Super GameRoom Dudes. Ho!
What time is it?
Game time! Woo!
What up, YouTube? Happy New Year. It's your boys, Detroit Love, P-Dubs, Michael B. the Game Genie, and Nostalgia with the first episode of the year of the Super GameRoom Dudes. Let's get it started.
Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to the first episode of the Super GameRoom Dudes Arcade and Gaming Podcast Show of 2021. Oh, yeah. Dig it. Super excited. Man, we're going to kick the year off great. We got a big show tonight. We got Mike Hermann here, CEO of RetroSoft Studios. We're going to be talking about RetroMania Wrestling, baby. So excited. One of the games I'm looking most forward to in 2021. That's going to take up about half of our show. The second half of the show, we're going to dive into arcade and gaming news for all your favorite arcade and gaming companies, as well as we have a well-played arcade pinball machine right next to me right here. So in the second half of the show, we are going to live demo it. We are going to check it out together. It just arrived today. Had to rush build it and get it ready. Now, before we proceed with the show, Detroit Love is to my left. How you doing, Carl? Say hi to everybody. Everyone say hello to Detroit Love.
Hey, how you guys doing, brother? You know how to do it. Fantastic, baby.
And, of course, we got Michael B. the Game Genie wearing the Hulkamania shirt. What's up, brother?
What you gonna do, brother, when Michael B runs mild on you?
Runs mild?
Yeah.
Mild? Like the mild sauce at Taco Bell? Jeez. Nostalgia wearing the Superman hat. How's it going, Nostalgia? Good to see you, man.
I'm doing well. Happy New Year to everyone.
Hey, guys, do me a favor in the chat. Everyone say hello to CEO Mike Hermann of RetroSoft Studios. Mike, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us on a Friday night. How are you, my friend?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm great to be a part of the show. First one of the new year.
Welcome. Guys, we got to get into RetroMania Wrestling. Mike, we might have some new viewers. We might have some folks who don't know what RetroMania Wrestling is. Maybe you can give us like a quick 2-minute, what is RetroMania Wrestling? Who are you? And all that stuff. I'll share some stuff on the screen while you're doing your little intro.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who don't know, RetroMania Wrestling is a new 2D arcade-style wrestling game coming to the Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, a PC via Steam, iiRcade, possibly next gen. We're still working on that, but the official sequel to the arcade game WrestleFest that was made 30 years ago. I can't even believe it was made 30 years ago, but 30 years ago, and we are bringing that style of game back with kind of our spin on it, drawing additional inspiration from all the great 2D arcade style wrestling games and even some of the console wrestling games of the 16-bit era. So if you played Saturday Night Slam Masters, Wrestle War, even current stuff like Fire Pro Wrestling, but Fire Suplex or 3 Count Bout from Neo Geo, Mat Mania, Tag Team Wrestling, all those great early arcade games, we kind of loved all of them, and some of those things were taken from those games and put into RetroMania. So it's a real easy pick up and play game, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Hey, Mike, we need to find out what is under the sheet. The audience wants to know. Tell us what's under the sheet. What is behind you there? What is that?
That is a arcade machine.
What, an arcade machine? If I look now, guys, take a look where his name logo is, and right to the right of that, I kind of see an N there. I kind of see, it almost looks like NWO or NWA. Maybe that says
NWA.
NWA. What? Let's pull the sheet off, Mike. You're here. We're live. Let's do it.
This is gonna get me in trouble.
Oh, he's gonna do it, guys. He's gonna do it. He's
real quick. You can all take a look right there.
Oh, there it is.
There we go. Put that back.
All right. Hey, we got a $5 super chat from Retro Recon. Wants folks to join the iiRcade. Now, the reason why this is actually super cool, thanks for the super chat, is RetroMania Wrestling is coming to the iiRcade. Tell us about that story, Mike.
Yeah, so Jong, who is the most, full of energy person I think I've ever met, and it's just awesome. He approached Mike Archer, who's on my team, who helps with all the licensing stuff, and said, we want RetroMania on the iiRcade platform, and what will it take to get it there? So, this was only probably 2 months ago. So, one, I was concerned. We already had a lot on our plate. This is my first game I've ever developed. I was telling you guys before we came on air, my background is accounting and finance software. And as fun and exciting as accounting and finance software is, I thought this would be a little more fun to start a video game company and make a video game. So, but Jung, they found out about it. They contacted us and really pursued us hard. Really wanted to get RetroMania on their platform. And really, RetroMania, its roots is an arcade game, obviously. WrestleFest is the official sequel to WrestleFest, and it's really taken that game and fast forwarding 30 years and doing a lot with it. So it's just a natural fit on the iiRcade or an arcade machine.
Now, a common question I see on the forums for RetroMania Wrestling, whether it's the iiRcade or other platforms, Mike, is folks want to know if your game, if you guys will be able to do online play, online matches against each other, as well as potentially leaderboards and things like that. Can you confirm where you're at with that, or if that's a possibility?
Yeah, so we're working on leaderboards for iiRcade,
nice.
At a minimum. We did initially have intentions of going online from the get-go. We started that work, but it was super buggy, and I wanted to get a game out within 2 years. We've been working on this since 2018, and it's a pretty small team. So it was just not realistic to get online out. And really, I did a lot of research before getting into this. I had to get the board of directors, aka my wife, to sign off on this project. So, I really did put together, here's our budget, here's what I can afford to make this in, here's the time frame we need to do it. Obviously, we're over budget, we're past our timeline already, So, and one of the things I did read in looking into developing this was I read a lot of stories just in doing my research of online multiplayer killing launches of games if it's not done correctly. So we explored it, and then we actually have we have 2 people on our team now who've joined us kind of at the later end of it, who have experience in that specifically on our platform. So it's definitely something we're still going to look into post-launch But if we can't do it right, we're not going to do it. I think we can do it right. It's just we got to get the initial game out there. My whole kind of philosophy is if I can't master the gameplay, it doesn't matter if we have online play or not. No one's going to want to play the game. So I spent my resources on making sure we make a fun wrestling game. And once that's done, we can build on top of that. But we need to make sure that foundation is stable.
Awesome.
So you said this is your first ever game you have ever made, right?
Yeah, quote unquote professionally, right?
Yeah.
So my I did get my graduate degree in software engineering. So for my final project there, I made a real simple game, like a platforming game off of an engine. I don't even think it exists anymore. But it was like an off-the-shelf game engine. I want to say it was Garage Games might have been the company that made it. I don't even know if that's right. This is a while ago. This is about 16 years ago or so, 17 years ago. So, and I've dabbled in stuff. I don't know if you guys have ever done anything with Mugen, or have you ever heard of that? It's like a fighting game engine. So that's an engine. It was like a free engine that came out. That came out probably 20 years ago now. That you can basically create your own fighter. So you can go in there and you can download it. It's a free download. You go on the internet, you can have like Ronald McDonald versus Colonel Sanders, Homer Simpson versus the Family Guy. It's just like a fighting game engine with a lot of cool stuff. So I helped out on a project called Pocket World, which was DC Universe characters, but the little chibi style characters. So I helped out on like some art direction on that. Very little bit of coding, but I've always played around and stuff like that. Then I've played in Game Maker's actually the engine we use, but I've played around in that for years just as a hobbyist.
Yeah. Now we got some folks in the chat. They want to know, what is the release date? Where are we at? And is it going to release on all platforms same time? What do you got for us, Mike?
So February 26th of this year is the release date. And it will release on all the consoles and PC definitely on that date. And we are trying our hardest to get the iiRcade version out on the same day. So we just got a new programmer on board 2 weeks ago just to work on the iiRcade port. So you guys, nice. I know your audience is probably familiar with it, but the iiRcade is a 5:4 aspect ratio.
Yep.
Our game was designed with a widescreen 16:9 aspect ratio in mind, which is the common monitor format. All the consoles, it's the standard format, and all the consoles as well. So we have some work to do. We already got the menus working they look good with some changes we made. The gameplay is what we're working on right now to make sure it's going to be probably more zoomed in, which is funny enough. One of the features, a decent number of people said, why didn't you zoom in more like the original WrestleFest was? And really it was a design decision because I played the original WrestleFest in the arcades. I don't even know how much money I spent on that, a small fortune. And one of the annoying things was if I played with a friend of mine and we played either against each other or in the Royal Rumble, if he was on one side of the ring and I was on the other side, only one of us would be in frame. It wouldn't zoom out. You would lose track of who the camera could see. So we decided the compromise was we would just zoom back a little bit to cover the entire ring. Plus, we have more space now. We have a 16:9 monitor, which was our standard. Now, where then it was 4:3. So there was a couple different things that went into that. But with the 5:4 monitor, we're now kind of revisiting that, and maybe we'll be able to zoom in a little closer.
Oh, man. I can't wait for this game. I am so hyped for this game. As my followers know, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I love wrestling video games, and I just can't wait. I can't wait, man. I'm so excited. And guys, time is flying. It's already January 8th. Can you believe that? Like, release day is going to be here. We're going to be playing RetroMania. We're going to be having fun. I'm so happy it's coming on iiRcade, just like WrestleFest. I mean, it belongs on an arcade machine. Yeah, it'll be cool to sit on my couch and play with my thumbs. Now, here's a question for you, though. How is the controls going to work on the iiRcade? Like, do you use both sticks? Or
no, so the controls, it's 6 buttons and 1 stick. So that's what we used in the game itself. And then we do have a start button, which will pause the game. So it'll map pretty seamlessly to the iiRcade controls. We did draw a little bit from those people who've played Fire Pro Wrestling, where we have a weak, medium, and strong attack move. We have a run button, and then we have a tag button and a taunt button. So one of the things in the original WrestleFest, you couldn't taunt; only the computer would taunt at you, which always drove me nuts. So I made sure we were going to have a dedicated taunt button so you could taunt the computer back. So we have it's a 6-button setup, but we tried to keep it more like an arcade game, more where I would say Fire Pro is more of a simulation to an extent than an arcade game. We wanted it a little faster paced play, and we do have a element of randomness to our game as well to keep you on your toes.
Are there run-ins, attacks, backstage, anything like that?
There are surprises. We do not currently have run-ins in the game, but we have a bunch of other things going on that you guys will definitely like.
Well, guys, I can hog the microphone and talk wrestling all night. Like, honestly, if I wasn't doing a video game channel, I would probably be doing a wrestling channel, in all honesty. So in all fairness to my co-host here, there's plenty of questions in the chat. Or what questions do you guys have for Mr. Mike? And we also have a really cool announcement we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes. Go ahead.
I got the hard-hitting questions here. So a little while ago, you guys ran a competition to add an indie wrestler to your game. Warhorse won. I want to know, was it rigged? How did Joey Spector not win? 8-Bit Eric should have been in this game as Joey Spector. Tell me how that happened.
Well, we'll reveal a little later something, but no, it was not rigged. We voted. The studio had a vote, and the fans voted on YouTube or on social media, and then Dave LaGreca had a vote on Busted Open.
Yeah.
So no, it wasn't rigged. I mean, we were surprised. I think the biggest upset was right off the bat when RJ City lost as a 1 seed.
Yeah.
And we were shocked because we thought he was going to go really far in it. And Warhorse just, you know what, he promoted hard for it. I mean, and his stuff, like I honestly, the guy who really, I'll take credit for the initial idea of kind of throwing it against the wall, but my marketing guy, Mike T, created the whole thing. He follows indie wrestling. He knew all these guys. He had to go through countless email comments to narrow it down to 32, and getting 32 guys to sign off, indie guys to sign off on the contracts ahead of time was a challenge in and of itself. Initially, we were going to do 64, and we had to cut it back. But it was Warhorse just killed it, and he's a great follow. I had never heard of him until the contest that we ran.
Yeah, so, it was the same with me too. Your contest introduced me to Warhorse, and he has gotten so popular. He's even won a contest to show up on AEW.
Yep.
And face Cody Rhodes afterwards. So he's going to be a really good inclusion in the game.
Yeah, it was a big night for us because that night we had Warhorse, and then Matt Cardona came out. Later on AEW. So we had two RetroMania stars. And I might add, they were signed in RetroMania first. So RetroMania really makes stars, is all I'm saying. You will end up on the big screen after you appear in RetroMania.
Hey guys, real quick, we got a super chat from Retro Recon. Wanted to see some gameplay, so I got the gameplay trailer going right here for your guys' viewing pleasure. As you can see, this looks like a ton of fun. I love the style you guys went with, bringing it back. We love retro gaming around here, so we love seeing it looking this way. Now, Mike, how soon will there be a beta soon or anything like that where folks can start testing and playing? Or
no, we're gonna get review copies out to people, so there's enough information so that people will help them with a purchase option. It's just with such a small team running a beta, I did look into it. It would be a huge uptake in and of itself, just to run a beta and get a beta or a testing or a beta build out there for people. We've opened it up. I requested beta testers like a month ago, and I was overwhelmed by the number of people that responded. It was really made me feel good that people were interested in the game. So right now we have about 10 beta testers testing the game to help us get through all the bugs and whatnot.
Now, do you think there's potential in a future update where we could get online matches?
That's the plan. I think, it's hard to gauge, right? So going in, I remember, I'll tell this quick story, but we first went to Too Many Games in 2019, and it was the first time we were showing it to anybody besides like my kids. And I was terrified. No one was going to come to the booth. Too Many Games is like a couple miles from my house. So I didn't think anyone was going to come to our booth. If they played it, they weren't going to like it. No one would be interested. And it was the furthest thing from the truth. We were crowded from Thursday when it opened till Sunday. And, I think we have something tapped in there. It seems to be a lot of AEW wrestling games coming soon, like in the next year. But at the time when we started this, and luckily we'll be out before any of those come out, there was really nothing on the market, where back in the heyday, there was like several wrestling titles every year coming out. And especially on the Switch, where there's really nothing outside of the WWE game. And that didn't do that great because of just the performance of the Switch, So the goal is we think we're going to be successful. We definitely want to add updates to the game going forward, additional characters, and hopefully online play as well. That was a very long answer to that question.
No, it was a wonderful answer. I'm going to ask one quick question, then I'm going to deviate back to my co-host here. A lot of folks are asking, is it physical copies available as well, or is it download only?
Download only on February 26th, but we did already sign an agreement with Limited Run Games. Okay. So in the future, we're going to do a physical version, but they typically, and I agree with them, they want everything in there before they do the physical version.
Yeah.
So I speak to Doug over there, somewhat regularly just to give him updates. So basically, once we launch, we'll circle back with Limited Run and we'll start planning out when that will exactly be.
Wonderful. Making good time, guys. Nostalgia, what do you have for Mike? Any questions about emulation, processing, anything like that, or just anything? What's on your mind, brother?
Yeah, I'm mostly in terms of emulation. I'm curious, not emulation, but I guess the hardware. What are the minimum specs to get this thing up and running? Maybe that was the wrong question to ask.
I got to defer to my one of my programmers. I mean, it's not. That's tough to say because I have a pretty beefy machine. We tested it. This will give you some idea. The Intel NUC PCs. You know what I'm talking about? Those little black box. There's a lot of them now, but the single board computers.
Yep.
With onboard graphics, it runs it fine.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like we don't need a Series X or a PS5 to push these pixels. For sure. So it's not super high specs. That's one of the things on my to-do list is to really get that out. I think we have minimum specs on our Steam page. That they were kind of safe estimates. They were pretty low, or they might have been a little higher than they needed to be. Just because I'd rather err on that side than the opposite side, where someone would buy something and think that or pre-order something and think that they can run it when they can't. So we definitely have to revisit that. We're at a point now where it's just. I have to do it now because the game is all pretty much done at this point. So I can definitely find that out and test that.
Is there a blood mode in the game? Is there any blood at all?
I chose not to do blood. I didn't think it really added a ton to it. You hear that from people, but I mean, I think that's more of a personal thing. It never did anything for me. Although as a teenager, I remember wanting the Sega Genesis version of Mortal Kombat because it had blood. But that was more teenage me versus, 45-year-old me, where it's not as big of a deal anymore. I could see us adding it at some point, but it also changes the ESRB rating, I think. It'll raise the ESRB rating if we have that in there. So I kind of have a different kind of tune to that now that I'm a parent. Now that I'm a parent. I don't think it really added to the experience of the game. So right now, maybe at some point we'll put a blood code in. Who knows? It would be cool. We do have one thing where the cage match in the original WrestleFest, you couldn't really do anything with it. You just Irish whip them in. Now you can ram somebody's head into the cage in our game. So that would be kind of cool if you broke somebody open on that. But for right now, no, it's not in there.
Yeah. So Mike, I don't know if you remember, but jumping ahead to another generation, like the next great iteration of wrestling games were the N64 wrestling games. So you had WCW versus NWO World Tour, and also the WWF games like Revenge and also WrestleMania 2000. Those were really the first wrestling games I remember where blood was actually in a wrestling game. So if you do it with a reason. Maybe you can have a first blood match. I don't know if you remember those or not.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny because that era of wrestling games, I didn't play a ton at the time. I've since gone back and played them. But again, showing my age a little bit, I was a PlayStation guy, not an N64 guy. So actually back then I didn't even have an N64. I had a PlayStation. So I was playing Power Move Pro Wrestling, WWF Attitude, was on that as well.
SmackDown,
so not great. The PlayStation kind of didn't have the greatest lineup of wrestling games. And when I did start playing Nintendo 64 later, I was like, God, I would have spent so many hours on this. Yeah. But at the time, I did have I modded a Sega Saturn and was playing Fire Pro 6-Man Scramble on that. So that was a Japanese only title. So I was playing that instead. So it was a pretty good trade-off.
And I don't think the blood is that big a deal. As long as I can take a chair and smack somebody on the head.
That you can do. That you can do.
Chair shots. All right, yes. Concerto. All right, we got a couple super chats. Let's fly through them. Scott, $1.99. He has access to an iiRcade machine for testing. It sounds like he's volunteering his services, Mike. Keep Scott Parisi in mind.
Scott's already testing. He's testing the PC version now.
And then we also got a $5 super chat from King Creole. He says, what can we do to get a P-Dubs character? Well, we actually might be able to talk a little bit about that just in another minute here. Real quick question. Do you know a lot of folks are asking about the pricing. Have you guys announced the pricing yet for RetroMania on any of the platforms? Mike?
Yeah, so it's $24.99 pre-orders, and then it'll go to $29.99 at launch. We want to keep it under 30, definitely. Obviously, we couldn't ask more than that anyway, given the graphic style. I think just from even if we packed every possible thing into there, the perception would be, a little high. And I think 30 is good. Plus, it gives us room. We will eventually do some discounts, most likely, to bring that down. But I think it's definitely be worth your while. And the reviews we've gotten from our internal team have been really good.
Awesome. All right, we're making great time. I figure before we deviate to talking about arcade news, we'll talk about something really cool coming up for RetroMania Wrestling. Mike, if you want to share for folks, tell people about the Too Many Games Arena and what you guys have done. And I'll pull up a picture here in a minute, but tell folks about what you've done with members of the community and all that kind of stuff.
So we thought a really good way to get free advertise. Oh wait, I shouldn't have said that. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I meant a way to show a tribute and love to the retro gaming community out there. Was to display them in an arena. So Too Many Games, as I said, is very close to my house. I live right around the corner from Too Many Games. I've gone there for years. And I thought they had wrestling actually set up there when I was there last year. They were doing some stuff. And I thought this would be a great thing because I've been watching the retro gaming YouTube stuff since YouTube started. And the original concept of the game was actually going to be a YouTube wrestling game back when I first started, until I got enough courage to go and try to ask some wrestlers if I could license them. Mm-hmm. So I thought, this would be really cool, different arena that, I haven't seen it in a wrestling game before. And I could kind of pay tribute to some of the shows that I've watched over the years, some of the newer stuff I've been watching, and obviously, as a side effect, I'm stroking some people's egos to get them to talk about it on their podcasts.
So, speaking of which, let's kind of take a look here. So, guys, if you're unfamiliar with what he's talking about, let's go full screen. This is the Too Many Games Arena, and as you can see, there are a lot of folks. You got Jay and Silent Bob. I'll zoom in on all these guys, but take a look here, guys. Who's this clown sitting in the bottom corner? Is that P-Dubs? Did P-Dubs make it to RetroMania Wrestling? Yes, he did. Mike, thanks so much for that. But we actually have a special announcement about this. So, guys, I'm absolutely thrilled to find out that they have decided to put P-Dubs in RetroMania Wrestling. However, I told Mike, I've been talking to him this week, I said, Mike, I wouldn't be where I am without my friends, my buddies, my compatriots. So I told him, I said, what I would love to see is this table get changed to a 4-person table and have the Super GameRoom Dudes in here instead. And Mike, what was your answer? I'm putting the pressure on you, Mike. Are the Super Game Room Dudes going to make it to the show?
As long as they get me some source material by tomorrow.
Oh, there you go.
So the pressure back on them.
Guys, the pressure's on you. What do you guys think about being in RetroMania Wrestling?
Mike, I got a special request. Can you actually put me next door in with the Nest Pursuit? I don't think Aaron and Ricky would mind.
But take a look at that, and dude, you put the little gray in the beard. You even put the gray in the beard. Oh my god, the glasses! This is awesome.
Yeah, I think the only other request I would have is, you see, P-Dubs, if you zoom into your kind of little character there.
Yep,
he's wearing a black shirt. Can you throw the Nostalgia logo right on the middle of that
shirt? Oh my god, that would be hilarious. But guys, yes, so P-Dubs will be in the game if they have time, because they're getting ready to get this thing released. It's getting kind of late in the game to make last-minute changes and additions. Mike says he's going to do his best to get the Game Room Dudes in there. I am willing to sacrifice my spot to share it with my friends. So hopefully this will turn into a Super Game Room Dudes thing right here. So hopefully that'll happen. Mike, we greatly appreciate that. But let's take a look around the arena. Mike, tell us who these people are. So we got NES Pursuit.
Yep.
Is that John?
Yes, it is.
We got John. Who else we got here?
There's a guy that you're familiar.
Who? Hold on.
I don't
have my glasses on. Who is it?
So that is 8-Bit Eric's alternate persona.
Joey Spector. There he is.
Yep.
Oh, that's Joey Spector. Okay. We got RGT85.
Yep.
We got the Game Chasers. John Riggs. Who else we got? Anyone else? It's like playing Where's Waldo. I'm trying to look at all these faces.
Level 857's a newer podcast that they were one of the first ones I did, and I've since, I watch them a lot. I've talked to them a bunch offline, or not during their live streams, but exchange chat messages with them all. Great bunch of guys. I'll plug them right now. Another great gaming podcast. They do stuff every night. We got Limited Run Games in there. That's the crew from Limited Run Games.
Very cool.
And then down in the left-hand corner is the Metal Jesus Rocks crew.
Look, Alpha Omega Sin. He doesn't even make videos anymore. That's a nostalgia swap right there.
Man, it just keeps going and going.
Bitbean Canada is the art team that is actually doing these backgrounds. They were responsible for all of our environments.
Yeah, guys, I haven't been sharing your chats on the screen. Keep the comments coming, guys, because I wanted everyone to see what this looks like. I didn't want to get it covered up, but wow, this looks great. You have Grand Pooh Bear, and who else we got here?
That's the CU podcast, Pat Contry and Egan Ferguson. And then the Jane Silent Bob Mall Brawl developers let us, we did some cross promotion with them. So we gave away some Jane Silent Bob Mall Brawl codes a couple weeks ago for their inclusion. That's the cast for Matt Mania. That should look familiar for those.
That's awesome.
They're doing so that's I forget all their names, but Insane Warrior, Tommy
God.
Dynamite, Coco Savage, Karate Fighter.
Oh my God, guys, that is the Matt Mania characters right there. That is awesome. I absolutely love that.
That is that's John Lister from what's his channel now?
Gamester 81.
Gamester 81, sorry.
Yeah.
He was going to be in the original game too. We had that sprite. I actually got to follow up with him, make sure that's still okay. He gave me the okay before though, but that was like 2 years ago.
Oh man, but look at that. P-Dubs. P-Dubs is in the game. Is that supposed to be a microphone for podcasting?
That's a webcam there.
Oh, that's a
old webcam.
And I got a headset on, the glasses. Nice. Nice. Man, so cool, so cool. But I'm really honored, and special thanks to Mike and to Jong. I guess after I met Mike and Jong, they talked about it, and they said, we should get P-Dubs in the game. And Mike and I have been talking about it. I haven't been able to say anything publicly yet, but I would love to have my buddies in here with me, Mike. If you can't do it, I understand because you're so close to release. But if you can do it, that would be amazing. Guys, what do you think about P-Dubs or possibly the Game Room Dudes being in the game as well as this arena? Guys, this is officially my favorite arena. Maybe I'm a little biased, but this is my favorite arena in the game. Carl, what do you think? You want to be in the game?
I'm in the game. All I got to do is get them the source material by tomorrow, and it's a done deal, baby.
Yeah.
Oh man,
You look so lonely there by yourself. I'm glad you came up.
Yeah, I need my. It's like everyone's got friends except for the Pooh Bear guy.
Right.
You know? Pooh Bear and P-Dubs have no friends. Everyone else has friends, Mike. Super, super cool. Can't wait to get this game. Vic Vicious, he would like to be added as my tag team partner. So that's really, really funny. Nostalgia, you got to put him in with that colorful hat, though. The rainbow
copyright.
Hat.
Got to get the copyright.
You got to get rid of the DC logos and stuff. Yeah.
Well, take the S off and replace it with an R, but keep it as a rainbow colored hat.
I've got my black hat with the blue brim and then the nostalgia logo on that. We'll go that way.
That we can do.
Now, during that arena, Mike, all the characters, like everyone at the tables, were all animated, right?
Correct.
They're all doing stuff. So I'm probably sitting there going, talking to the camera.
Can you make it so I'm hitting Mike with a steel chair?
Oh, there we go. Bam!
Just
violence.
cracking him.
I don't like that.
Oh man, Mike is awesome. Mike, thanks so much. Now we got to talk about Arcade and News, and we promised people we would do a pinball demonstration. You're more than welcome to hang out with us if you'd like. Totally up to you, my friend.
Yeah, I'll stay on.
Oh, awesome. All right, guys, let's dive into the arcade and gaming news. Detroit Love, what are your predictions for CES? We got some big announcements coming up next week. Arcade1Up themselves has said they're going to be making some big announcements, I think on Monday. And what are your predictions for that? As well as, do you think we'll see surprises from any of the other companies out there?
One, I don't think it's going to be a live event. I think it's all going to be telecast, web streaming. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to the pinballs, the pinball machines. That's what I'm most excited about. Last year we all was anticipating more and more pinball. It started creeping out at the end of the year. So CES, I'm not interested in anything but what's happening in the pinball world. Obviously the iiRcade machine. I'm looking forward, John, being able to showcase the new designs there at CES versus that white machine that we saw at the last CES. So those are the things I'm most excited about, for sure.
So what pinball, do you think any new pinball machines are going to be announced?
I don't think any new, I don't know of any new machines that's going to be released, but this is going to be the first time that all of the lineups are going to be available to be showcased in one area. And that's what I'm most excited about. Because I think, like I always say, I didn't play a whole lot of pinball because it was too hard and I didn't have enough quarters to be wasting back then. But now that you don't have to put quarters in it, man, everybody should be playing some pinball. It's just an awesome arcade cabinet to enjoy. So,
okay. Michael B, do you have any predictions for? And guys, throw it in the chat. What do you guys think Arcade1Up is going to announce next week? Are they going to blow the lid off the competition, or are we going to see just 20 more versions of Pac-Man? Guys, let's throw it in the chat. Michael B, what are your thoughts?
So I've been really picking apart what everybody says, especially John D. I've watched a lot of appearances with John D, followed a lot of his, feed on Twitter and what he's been putting out there. So we know that there's going to be another Atari 12-in-1 cab coming out. He said that it's possibly going to be styled after Tempest. So expect to see another Atari 12-in-1 release that's going to be Tempest branded. He's also alluded to the fact that they're going to re-release some older cabinets, again, with more games on them. So I think it's pretty safe to say we can probably expect to see some more 12-in-1 cabs, maybe a Capcom 12-in-1 cab. I know that Final Fight here in Canada is now completely off store shelves, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility about seeing a Capcom 12-in-1, maybe with some of the Final Fight games and maybe some of the other games like on the head-to-head Street Fighter cabinet. I think for mainline games, Simpsons is a lock, but I've been watching Retro Ralph a lot, and Retro Ralph has been really pushing for an X-Men cab, and I've got a very interesting theory on this. I think that much like we had with X-Men versus Street Fighter, we're going to get a Simpsons and X-Men cabinet, and you're going to be able to pick and choose. So you're going to get a Simpsons cab with a couple Konami games on it. You're also going to get an X-Men cab that has some shared games on it. So maybe Simpsons and X-Men will be on both cabinets. They're both Disney licenses, so they can get away with it. And then a couple other Konami games like Violent Storm or something like that. Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Sunset Riders, Dear God, Please, G.I. Joe. I don't think so, but we'll see. One game I know for sure they won't have is WrestleFest, because there ain't no way anybody's getting all those licenses figured out to make a WrestleFest cab.
I know firsthand.
Yeah.
Nostalgia, what are your thoughts?
I think we are probably going to see a lot of what Mike said in terms of recycling older titles. I can see a Capcom remake of Street Fighter and some of those other titles. It wouldn't surprise me if they did something similar to that with like a Midway license as well, and kind of rehash some of those Midway games. Definitely we're going to see some more Pac-Man. I think that's a given. I don't think anyone has to really dig too deep to figure that one out. In terms of maybe standalone cabs, I think I would like to see something like a 4-player cab. Simpsons is kind of what I would be interested in. Maybe some sort of a unique cabinet with like a specific type of controller style. So we had the Outrun cabinet, which was racing. We've had Star Wars with the flight yoke. But maybe we'll see something like a dedicated Tron cabinet or something like that. Who knows? That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah. So, guys, the way I look at it, Arcade1Up, the pressure's on them. They got all these multicades. A lot of their super fans are running out of space. A lot of their super fans are voicing that they want more games. They don't want to pay $500 and just have 2 or 3 games. So, in my opinion, guys, we're definitely going to see cabinets coming from Arcade1Up that have a lot more games on them. I would love to see 10 plus games. We keep hearing 12 plus games is the rumor. And I think that's what they got to do. And if they end up being releases of cabinets they've already done, personally, I don't find that a bad thing at all. Because think about it. You're going to get probably an upgraded cabinet with newer hardware, more games. You could sell off your old cabinets, condense space. You know what I mean? Like, because guys, even if you love Arcade1Up to death, you will never have room in your house for every cabinet they produce over the next 5-10 years. At some point, you're going to have to make sacrifices. Go ahead, Michael B.
Yeah, so I forgot about this one. I don't know if this is going to be a CES announcement, but we know this is coming out. They're possibly going to be doing a Street Fighter cabinet that's actually live. That's one I'll actually rebuy. I love my Street Fighter cabinet, but I would love to get one that has the live functionality so I can play Street Fighter against my friends. Better controls, because the Wave 1 controls weren't awesome. And of course, the audio issues where that was a mono speaker and they ran the sound channels wrong, that fixed. So if they release a Street Fighter Live cabinet, I'm probably going to replace that one.
Yeah, like look at Kev. His game room is full. Like a lot of us super fans. I mean, the casual fans, Arcade1Up is going to keep pumping out more and more cabinets, right? They're becoming a household brand by doing so. But a lot of the super fans were running out of room. So what are we going to do? If they came out with cabinets that had 12 games on them, so we can condense our cabinets and sell off the old ones, use some of that money to buy the new ones. I mean, heck yeah, I'd be all for that. I think that'd be a great move by Arcade1Up. When it comes to pinball, guys, I honestly don't think they're going to make a pinball announcement next week, because they haven't officially released the ones already in the hopper. And that sounds to me like if you're going to make another announcement, maybe do it later towards the E3 time of year, right? Like maybe you say, so if people are like, is there going to be a universal cabinet? I'm thinking maybe we'll see more pinball stuff come in the middle of the year. What's up, Mike?
So going back to that pinball announcement, they were on a show there a couple weeks ago, both John D and the guy from Zen, and they talked about possibly releasing some games that people aren't expecting, like really big hitters. And I'm wondering if there's a possibility that Zen could be working on tables that they don't necessarily already have console versions of the tables out for. So could we see something like an Addams Family come out of nowhere, available through an Arcade1Up cabinet?
Interesting. I don't know.
I mean, that would shock people if they could do something like that, something that isn't already on Zen's outreach and big table like that. That'd be a bit of a game changer.
Yeah, that would be That would be surprising. Yeah. You never know.
I don't know. I feel like the pinball market is not quite the same as the arcade machine market. And not to say that people won't buy multiple, but I don't see people filling up a room with 10 different pinball machines. I can see them maybe picking 2, 3 that they like and kind of capping it at that. So I don't know how much they're going to invest in that.
Stephen P-Dubs has 4 pinball machines already.
P-Dubs is a special kind of animal, though.
Yeah, I have issues. Okay, so when it also comes to, we're hearing rumors of a Tron cabinet, but in my opinion, I think the sleeper hit that nobody's talking about and the arcade cabinet that I want is Hubert, baby. I want Hubert.
Oh no.
Hubert's gonna happen. That's my big prediction. That's the big reveal. The orange guy is gonna get his day in the sun. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Hubert to make his big reveal.
I've never liked Hubert, man. That guy is just too tough. I want to see a double stick, a dual stick Robotron. That would be great. If you can give me a cab with about 3 or 4 games with the dual stick, some Smash TV, some Robotron, Crazy Climber. Man,
you know what I want to see? I want to see some cabs that are like 3D polygonal stuff. So I don't know, I'm thinking Crazy Taxi. That'd be a sweet racing cab, or Tekken, or Killer Instinct, or something like that. I think that would be awesome, because we were getting a lot of the retro stuff. Let's get something a little bit more modern.
But wouldn't that change the whole cost structure that they're doing? Because how much hardware would you have to beef up to run something like that?
We can afford it.
You don't need that much.
Let's do it.
No, you can. I mean, if you're talking stuff like Dreamcast, I mean that's relatively simple to run if you've got the. I don't even want to say the right hardware. You can run Dreamcast on a Raspberry Pi 3. So you should in theory be able to squeeze it out of their chipset.
Man, I'm just telling you, man, the sheet, they're going to pull the sheet off and we're all going to be sitting there like, what is it? What is it? And it's going to be Hubert, bro. Hubert, you know what? All right, fine. Don't make a full site, but Arcade1Up, do me a favor. If you want me to be in your good graces again, at least make a Hubert countercade. Can I at least get that? You just put 2 games on it, Hubert Cubes, and just give me that little countercade so I can play Hubert, please. Thank you so much.
No!
Yes, and Detroit Love can sell you the what is that patent you put on the handle? His handle patent for the back of the countercades. I want Hubert, guys. That's all I care about. 2021, the year of Hubert.
I might be breaking my NDA here, but I'm going to tell you this. You're not going to get it in the countercade. You're not going to get it in the 3/4. You're going to get a Hubert giant joystick.
Oh, with the big nose. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the memes on that one? Oh, man, that would be epic. All right, so let's kind of round off our predictions. We're predicting multiple cabinets with multiple games on them. At least, I don't know what, 10 games or 12 games? 12 is a good number. Let's say 12. So multiple 12-game cabinets. I'm picking Hubert. And then, of course, we're hearing Tron. And then, obviously, Simpsons is the one that everyone's talking about. I think Simpsons is a given. Simpsons, Hubert, and a bunch of 12-player cabs. What about you, Detroit Love? And no pinball, in my opinion.
Robotron, baby.
Yeah.
Sadly, with Robotron, I think we're going to get if it ever happens, it's going to be a Smash TV cabinet. That'll be the outside artwork.
Yes.
God, that would be cool.
I'd love for it to be Robotron, but Robotron's a pretty basic. I love it. It's arcade history, but it's a basic kind of design. I think they'll go with
Smash. Add it to the Smash TV. I don't care.
I think you'll get Smash TV, Total Carnage, and Robotron 2084.
Where's my Popeye cabinet? That's all I care about. Like,
it's sitting with Donkey Kong and Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Who was that again? Mario. Who was that?
Yeah.
That's the Canadian Mario.
All right. Before we get over here to the well-played pinball machine, Nostalgia, what are your final predictions? And guys, keep throwing them in the chat.
I'm going to say I think we're going to get a number of 12-in-1s or multi-cabs. Probably, I think Tron is fairly safe, and I think Simpsons are pretty safe. And then I just throwing it out there, I want to see something 3D.
Ooh.
So whatever that is. I think we're talking about the hardware, something like Tekken You can run that on their existing hardware right now.
I
You
played
just
it
have to
on mine.
optimize it. 100%. You can run Tekken on it. I could see, I don't know, Killer Instinct is a little bit tougher, so you might need the more advanced chipset for that, something like what they're using in their Big Buck Hunter. Crazy Taxi as well might be a little bit advanced, but I'm thinking, I'm leaning in those types of titles. I want to see that.
I'm sorry, I'm being really rude here, but I'm going to jump back in. Last time we held a prediction video with all of us, one of the big things we talked about, and I talked about extensively, was fighter fatigue. We didn't want to see any more fighters. There have been so many Arcade1Up fighters. I recently picked up the X-Men versus Street Fighter cab. I've been playing that online, and fighter fatigue is gone for me. I want to see them re-release all their fighters live. It's so much fun. They did such a good job with that. So I'm open for more fighters. If you can do Killer Instinct and you can do it live, let's go.
Yeah, Killer Instinct, or hell, just re-release the Mortal Kombat Midway cabinet live, re-release the Capcom Street Fighter cabinet live. And yeah, I think a lot of us will buy it, and we will get rid of our, cabinets we have today to some suckers, sell them for, $100, $200 a pop, use that money to help pay for the new cabinets. And I think a lot of us will be happy Arcade1Up, so hopefully they'll do that. All right, guys, let's switch gears here. So,
hold on, one more prediction.
Uh-oh.
One more. Dance Dance Revolution.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. All right, guys. We got to fly through these. So Toy Shock, I've been talking with Toy Shock. Toy Shock is working hard on getting the tabletop pinball machines out. So, guys, hopefully this first quarter we'll see those get released. So stay tuned for those. And stay tuned for some announcements on the tabletop pinballs from them. When it comes to the iiRcade, Jong is getting a lot of good reviews out there. The products are shipping. Customers are receiving them. Their fan pages, everyone is happy. So, and of course, everyone's waiting for Mike to release RetroMania Wrestling on the iiRcade. But yeah, the iiRcade seems to be doing well in its initial launch here. They've had to do a couple firmware fixes, but what's interesting too is this well-played arcade. The first thing I did when I turned it on, I had to update the firmware, right? The AtGames Legends Pinball that has already had 2 firmware updates, and it hasn't even been mass released yet, with another update, which I think went through today. Nostalgia on the AtGames end. Arcade1Up, last time they had a big week of announcements, a certain spreadsheet got released, which kind of, offset their announcements a bit. Do you guys remember last year when this clown released a bunch of spreadsheets? Can we expect AtGames to possibly also make some announcements this week, as they are Arcade1Up's technically biggest competitor?
You asked me like I haven't signed an NDA.
Well, come on.
I have no info. I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's time to put up or shut up, man. It's time to say.
Then I'll have to shut up.
Will we see spreadsheets next week? You never know.
We'll find out next week. Hey,
Stay tuned.
If you guys want spreadsheets next week, put the spreadsheet emoji in the chat. It looks a little something like that guy on the top right corner of the screen right now. The nasty, evil spreadsheet man. He ruins announcements. So we'll see. All right, guys. So keep your eyes on AtGames, because AtGames, a photo was leaked that they are coming out with a 3/4 scale arcade cabinet. And that was very interesting. Michael B. Detroit Love, what did you guys think about that leak from about a week ago now, wasn't it? What did you guys think? And let me know in the chat, guys. What do you guys think about AtGames doing a 3/4 scale cabinet? Throw it in the chat, guys. What do you guys think? I'll see if I can find the picture. I gotta find it.
I'll talk about it a little bit since it's already been released. I've seen a little bit of this thing, and there's more than meets the eye with this thing. It's pretty interesting, and that's all I'll say. But I think when people see more information about this, it'll be pretty cool.
Did you say more than meets the eye?
Yeah, more than.
Hold on, wait a second. That is okay, in no relation to.
So it doesn't transform in any way.
Wait a minute.
I'm not saying anything.
Hold on.
So, does it turn into a dune buggy?
Okay, so hold on, wait. I didn't realize. Okay, I hadn't thought that through when I said it. You can pick that apart any way you want, but it was not intentional. What I'm saying is
Wait a minute.
there's a lot of cool stuff with this
An
thing.
arcade machine that turns into a pinball machine.
Wait a minute.
Confirmed.
Folds.
Heard
Wait a-
confirmed from Nostalgia, who works for
fine.
AtGames.
I'll just tell you guys. It turns into a laundry machine.
Wait a minute.
So,
I think Nostalgia just screwed up big time. Guys, let's
what did I
dive.
do?
We're gonna dive into the footage. Nostalgia says this thing transforms. Guys, let's
No,
put it up
I
on
did
the
not.
screen.
I did not say that.
He says this thing transforms. Now let's take a look at it here, guys. There's your 3/4 scale arcade machine. It transforms. Now
That's not what I said.
we do know that the control decks are swappable. Now, what I find interesting is the shape of that bezel and monitor. That shape of the bezel and monitor I find very interesting. If you guys notice, it's almost a perfect square with a widescreen monitor smashed right in the middle there. Now, if this thing transformed, the only thing I could think of is
Vertigo.
what if that screen rotated, guys? What if you could rotate that and enter portrait mode? Is that possible?
I don't think so.
You guys are digging way too hard.
Is that possible?
I don't think
guys?
the math works.
Is that possible? He said it transforms. It got my wheels spinning.
No,
The
I
gerbil
did not
spinning
say
around.
that.
Well,
I
Weber
You said there was
rotates-
more than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Hey,
Uh-oh.
what I was saying is that there is more than what you see in the photos. That's all.
And I'm just gonna put it out there. You know, my favorite is vertical. So if you're gonna do a 3/4 scale, make it vertical.
Yep.
And you got one player sit up there. That's made for vertical. Come on, let's do it.
Mike Herman, do you like playing vertical arcade games? Do you like doing like the vertical shooters? and, like-
Pac-Man, Miss
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I
Donkey
always
Kong.
like playing the games the way they were designed to be played. So I always hated playing Pac-Man and it'd be scrunched, or sometimes they would make it scroll up and down and things like that. So I definitely like. I loved what I forget which company has it though, but you could put like I have one where I turn my widescreen vertical.
Uh-huh.
So for games that I don't need it, I can display the marquee in the top front, and then just bezel art on the bottom. But for vertical games, it takes up the whole screen, and they look great. So
Yeah.
I love the vertical.
Well, Nostalgia's getting grumpy with his co-host here.
I'm not getting grumpy. I just said
How-
I didn't say transform.
You're like, it transforms. I'm like, what does it do? Does it
No,
rotate?
you
Does
said it transforms.
Will
I
this
just-
thing get up and make me a sandwich? Like,
Yeah.
come on.
I just no. What I said is that there was. See, here's the problem. I said there's more than meets the eye, and then you guys are all retro, like, oh, whoa, Transformers, which means that's what he said when it wasn't. So
Yeah.
I accept your apology.
Despite
right.
the fact the code name of the new machine is Optimus Prime.
Hey, you didn't hear that from me, though.
All right. Guys, we've been going an hour. It sounds like this is going to be a little bit longer show than normal. But guys, you guys want to do the pinball since we're already pushing an hour? Should we show off this well-played arcade pinball machine?
Let's do
All
it.
right. All right, guys, let's check it out. Does this thing measure up to the competition? We're going to find out right here. Let me get my camera switched and let me move some stuff around here on my desk. Now, guys, let's go over a couple things. For starters, we are doing a live stream. I think this live stream might only be pushing out at 30 frames per second or something like that. The pinball machine itself, from what I have played it today a little bit, it's definitely running at 60 frames per second, and there's no flipper delay. So anything wonky, loss of frame rate you guys see is because we're basically streaming with a camera pointed at the machine. And also, because I don't have it hooked up to a capture card, you'll hear a delay in the audio because the audio is going to be coming through the microphone here and not through the camera. So just a heads up there. However, despite me covering for the machine that way, there are some issues with this machine that I'd like to talk about. So let me switch some cameras here, guys, and we'll get going here. So hang on here, camera. And go ahead.
And while you're doing that, I just want to say I've been playing the heck out of this iiRcade cabinet here. I definitely like it. I've done videos this week that cover the pros, the cons, the unboxing, the gameplay. So if you guys hadn't yet seen those, definitely go and check out the channel.
All right, just bear with me here. Yeah, you have done.
We lost you, P-Dubs.
He dropped the mic. It was that good.
You know what would be nice with this machine? If they somewhere on this machine, if they labeled it as a pinball machine.
Oh,
Yeah, I was completely confused. I thought it was a toaster.
Yeah, see, me too. I thought it was either like a toaster or a really small microwave,
Yeah.
and it
I
would
think
be
they-
much more clear if they would actually put like the pinball branding somewhere on this thing. Doesn't have to be everywhere, just at least one spot so we can identify it.
Yeah,
And the
Mike,
Christmas lights look great.
Mike, this might be a good. I don't know if you could do it so late in the game, but instead of it just being wrestling in the ring, you should just write the word wrestling right across the screen, right over everything that's happening, so people are clear that wrestling's actually what this game's about.
now, guys, I don't know what it is about all these companies always doing the lightning bolts on their power-up screens. You know what I mean? But
Supercharged.
we got to stop doing the lightning bolts. Now, let's take a look here, guys, at the light up marquee, for instance. So, or not marquee, what do you call back box?
Backglass.
It is literally 2 rows of Christmas lights, LED strips. It blinks red, blue, and green. Red, blue, green, red, blue, green. It doesn't even illuminate the entire back box like it showed in their advertisement videos. So, in all honesty, like, it doesn't have a secondary display. It's a static back glass, and it doesn't even light up properly. You know what I mean? Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know.
I really, really like the Christmas theme that they're going with. It's beautiful.
Guys, let us know what you think about the back glass here. Let me see here, guys. Yeah, and so I opened the back, and it's just 2 fairly cheap LED strips in the back. All right, let's see if we can get this camera locked in. Hang on, guys.
Do you find that the lights kind of flashing like that are distracting at all, or not really?
Not really. Not when you're actually playing the game. So let's see if we can get you guys a good view here.
So the DMD is not on the back glass then. That's just a display with
Nope.
Christmas lights.
Yeah, the DMD will be a little HUD on the top of the monitor. So, all right, guys. So let's talk about a couple things. So you have this little, kind of like you know how the Legends Pinball has a D-pad on it.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing has kind of like an analog joystick on the front, and I don't know if you guys can see the mouse. See the mouse right there?
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
Okay. So it's got an analog joystick for menu navigation. Now watch the mouse on the bottom. I am holding it all the way up, right? Now watch this. When I hold it all the way up, the mouse moves really, really slowly and then just takes off like a rocket. Boom! You know what I mean? So menu navigation can be a pain because you're trying to get the mouse where it needs to be. And this is definitely running like a version of kind of like an Android phone app.
It's an Android phone app.
Oh yeah,
Trying to emulate the touch.
It's like a cell phone inside of a arcade machine. The games themselves, of course, are fun. We'll dive into that in a minute. Obviously, you can go into Wi-Fi. You could go into the store to buy more games, but the store is not live yet. And of course, let's kind of dive into this here. Once we put some color on the screen, it won't look. Now, the monitor itself, it definitely washes out depending on the angle you're looking at. You definitely need to be staring at this thing head on. The monitor on like the Toy Shock and the Legends Pinball does not wash out side to side, so this thing definitely does. Like that looks kind of pink in the video, but that's supposed to be orange from what I'm looking at. And guys, any questions in the chat because I can't get to the computer, let me know. And I'll try and answer.
Jeff Rainwater just want to know if it has Minesweeper on it.
No.
Yeah,
Sorry, there's one more question in here. Sorry, Mike, just to interrupt. There's also one more question in here to know whether or not you've gotten any better at pinball.
Yes, I have.
So
Now,
I got to jump in here too and beat a dead horse. Does it have Puzzle Bobble?
no, it does not have Puzzle Bobble. Okay, now what's interesting, guys, is hang on. Let me turn the volume down on the game. Hang on a minute.
And before you get going with one of those tables, P Dubs, make sure you're not doing both flippers at the same time, okay? Yes, so
I don't play with both flippers at the same time. Now, this unit only has one nudge button on the right-hand side. There's no built-in accelerometer, and there's no left or right nudge. This unit has a nudge button on the right-hand side of the machine, and you can use the flipper buttons to navigate the menus, as well as the mouse analog stick, which I forgot to mention earlier. So you can navigate both ways. But here's what's interesting, guys. It's got 2 buttons on the right, 1 button on the left. Obviously, the button on the left of the machine is the flipper button. The 2 buttons on the right of the machine are your flipper and nudge button. Now, here's the funny thing. When you hit the nudge button, it does a forward nudge on the table. There's no left or right nudge built into this program. That's it, just a forward nudge. Now, how can we play pinball without a left and right nudge? It makes it very difficult. You know what I'm saying? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, that's weird. I know when I kept seeing it, I noticed that there was only 1 button on the other side and 1 on the other side. So I was wondering what they were doing with that. So that's kind of weird that they would do that.
Yeah. Now let's dive into, let's do clown. So you can use your you could use the plunger as your enter button. You can use the plunger. That was that popping sound you heard.
How does the plunger feel? Or there's no plunger. There's no plunger, right?
There's a plunger on the front.
How's it feel?
The plunger on the Legends pinball machine feels like a more quality type plunger, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that great. Like so far, like there's not a whole ton to say here. Now hold on a minute. Let me see if I can move the camera. I want to show you guys something. So this thing is a 720p, and let's see if we can get this to focus here, guys. Let's see if we can get it to focus. So as you can see, I don't know if this is going to clear up here. There's jagged edges. Look at the jagged edges on the flippers. You see that?
Yeah.
So, throughout, I mean, when you kind of like zoom in on the table, so like it's pretty flat looking. I mean, it's not that 3D looking.
Is there any recess in the screen? Like, does it,
But
or is it just a flush mount?
It's recessed about an inch. Well, not an inch, like about a half inch. But like,
Okay.
as you can see there, you see all the jagged edges throughout the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely 720p. It's definitely not 1080p. So, I mean, take a look at that. I mean, does that look super pretty? Probably not. If you want to, some people might not mind. What do you guys think about the playfield here?
It looks like it certainly should be higher resolution than what we're seeing.
Yeah. What are folks saying in the chat? Because I can't even see the chat.
That your camera's way too close.
Hey man, I was just trying to help you guys out. But
They're saying, for the love of God, hold it still, buddy.
Oh, come on, man. Be nice. All right, let's play a little pinball.
Hey, Peter, how's the lockdown bar?
The lockdown bar is actually super comfy. It's got like a nice textured feel to it.
Is it rounded on the edges? Like, how does it feel in your palm, like the palm of your hand?
It is what you call a very slightly rounded edge.
Mm.
Oh, come on. Let's see, watch this. When I hit the nudge button, it just does a forward nudge. You see that little move there?
It doesn't work super well for pinball.
You see that little itty bitty forward nudge? But that's all it does, is it does a little forward nudge. You see how the ball's bouncing forward? But that's it. A little itty bitty forward nudge. You don't have left or right nudge, man, which, is driving me crazy.
Can they improve that later down the line with a software update, maybe?
I don't know. I mean, you don't even have the buttons to do it.
So
It's
the
gotta be
button on the right is nudge? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, the button on the right is a forward nudge button. That's it. There's no left or right nudge.
You can't. That's so counterintuitive for pinball.
Yes, there's no left or right nudge. Now, there's no accelerometer either. So here, let me show you. Because with it being Android, with it being Android, I figured, hey, maybe that has a built-in accelerometer because there's some accelerometers for Android, but it definitely doesn't have it. Let me see if I can get the ball to stop. So, for instance, I got the ball stopped at the bottom. Let me shake the machine. As you can see, nothing's happening, right? Nothing's happening.
Hey, P-Dubs, can you shake it a little harder just to be safe?
I'm just showing you guys. Like I shaked it violently, right? And of course, when you do the nudge, it just does a forward nudge. That's it. So
Can you zoom in on the ball itself?
yeah, the ball. Yeah, if you want me to. Hang on a minute. The ball is interesting. Let's see here. Let's do a restart. So let me just bear with me. Let's see if that'll come into focus here. Now you're just going to make me run around. All right.
Hey, P-Dubs, go back a little bit.
Hang on.
No, back just a little bit. No, okay, now forward. Easy.
Now look
Why
at
is
the
it
ball.
sparkling? It looks
Yeah,
like
the
a water drop.
So the ball has a shimmering effect to it, like from the lights of the table and stuff.
Well, that's pretty cool.
It looks like liquid mercury.
Yeah.
It's the T1000.
Yeah. Now I will give them credit on one thing, right? There's no flipper delay, right? And then hang on, guys, I'm just putting the camera back in the tripod. There's no flipper delay, and on top of that, the ball actually looks like it's rolling. You know what I mean, across the table. Whereas, Farsight Studios, they get a lot of heat because their ball kind of looks like it's sliding across the table in a lot of games, which is why people say, hey, it looks like it's floaty. Because that's just the way that Pinball Arcade, those games were designed all those years ago, but the ball actually looks like it's rolling, which is cool. And there's no flipper delay. You just don't have side nudge.
Yeah.
Have you played all the games yet, or just like a few of them?
Just a few of them.
And these are the solid state games, right?
These are the remake tables. So
Oh, remake. Okay. I told somebody solid state in the chat, so my apologies.
yeah, these are the remake tables. So if you're Zakaria, you want to explain to them the difference between the remake and the solid state while I try to focus on some gameplay here?
So I'm trying to catch up on this and get my mind around it again. So the tables from the late 70s to mid 80s, those were electromagnetic or electromechanical?
No, those were the ones from the 50s, I believe. Weren't they?
No.
We'll have to hold on a minute. Yeah.
Where's my spreadsheet on the Zakaria?
Yes, we need a spreadsheet. I mean, it's fun, but like I'm looking to hit like nudge buttons and they're not there. You know what I'm saying?
Like I'm the kind of person. I've been pretty vocal about this. Like if I want to play pinball, I want to play like real tables recreated. And the fact that this comes with the remake tables, which aren't the real tables that were released, the retro tables, that's a little disappointing to me. I'm going to be honest. I'm trying to be as positive as I can about this. Like there's a lot of things I just don't understand, like the way it looks, like the exterior aesthetic. I mean, the fact that it doesn't have side nudges, which I'll never understand. And some of the choices they made with the games, really, I don't know. I'm at a loss. Like I really want to like this, but I'm really having a hard time.
Yeah. Detroit Love, what are your thoughts, man?
Like I said, I welcome any addition into the arena because it just stimulates everyone to do better, and I like options. So I'm glad that they came out. I wish we have known more about it. They did very little promotion of the table. It's clear that it's just an Android application thrown into a device, into a pinball cabinet. So that's not good. But as long as it's enjoyable for people to play, I think the price is too high. The price is the worst thing of it. I think the market is going to demand for that to come down, and if that comes down and that makes it affordable for people to be able to play some pinball, I'm all for it. But again, I'm glad that there's more options than than less options for it, because everybody's different. I've been enjoying my virtual or visual pinball tables this whole year, and I tend to like the Stern tables, which has the most modern of the technology. But I find myself playing a lot of the other ones as well. So I'm glad that people have options because you know people like what they like, and everyone's not going to be able to satisfy everybody with a particular cabinet.
So
What's the price of this thing?
$4.99 US.
$4.99, $500.
See, I was just about to jump in and say I've got to go back to my very early days in business school and try to understand what the marketing strategy is here. Like for me, I would have looked at this and I would have done a penetration pricing strategy, which would have priced it below competition to try to gauge some of that market, and especially where you don't offer some of the same things. But what they did was they just basically went right in at the exact same level as the competition. And where this is going to be really hard for them is this is not as good of a product even as the Toy Shock. And if I'm not mistaken, the Toy Shock is down at the $3.99 price point. So this is tough. Like I'm really trying to be positive about this company. I'm at a loss.
Yeah, $4.99 is the wrong price, but the 500 cabinets weren't available at the time when they made their announcement. There was only the Toy Shock that was really available, so they were trying to up them with having a store and those type of things. But realistically, it has to be at the $3.99 or $2.99 to make some sense.
I've been pretty.
I've been ball stock.
I've been pretty negative about it. I'll just jump in for one quick second. One big saving grace is the fact that it is online connected and you can buy and add additional tables. So that is a plus for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that game expire. So, for instance, it comes with 27 games, and the Zaccaria games they decided to put with it are the remake games of the original tables. The store is not live yet, but from what we saw, I think on Cool Toys videos in the store, they were going to have where pretty much I think you're going to be able to buy all the Zaccaria games, which include, the original tables, right? As well as the deluxe tables and all that kind of stuff. I have to be honest, the build quality on the machine, it's just like the legs are held together with 4 screws instead of bolts. It's it's kind of wobbly even with everything locked and tight. And I'm talking little 1-inch screws. I'm not talking a long screw. In all honesty, yeah, I would have to admit the Toy Shock is built better from a building standpoint. It is nice that you can expand the library and add games either via USB or download. And by USB, what it means is you buy the games on your PC from their store, you download it to a USB and stick the USB into the machine, and you can play your own games. Well, not your own games, the games you purchased. And it has 8 gigabytes of storage, so you can get some games on there, right? So
what you're saying is this is the most toy-like pinball table available.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I'm not super impressed yet. You know what I'm saying? Let's fire up another table here. Go ahead. Keep talking, guys.
So I'll jump in again. I'm sorry. I'm being really rude to you, Nostalgia. Do you want to go? I'm
No. I'm a patient guy. You take your time.
So leading up to this being released, we questioned a lot why there wasn't more information out there. They were being so secretive. I mean, they were only really working with Cool Toy, and there wasn't any samples out there for people to try before this went to market. And I'm being negative here again. Maybe there's a very good reason why they weren't sharing a lot of information about it, because maybe they didn't have a lot of confidence in what they were putting out themselves. This is rough. So I'll stop talking now because I'm being a negative Nancy completely about this.
No, you're being honest. And you're making what our viewers want.
Yeah, you're making a fair assessment. So when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, this is a $4.99 retail price. We've got the Arcade1Ups that are $5.49, so a $50 difference, and then you've got the AtGames machine, which is $50 more. And then there's also the Toy Shock, which is, what is that, $100 less?
$100 less.
And what's the screen size on this thing?
24.
Okay, so you're looking at a 24-inch monitor, so you can either choose to go with something like this, which does have a nudge function, but it's a weird nudge function, and it is connected to the internet. You've got some sort of leaderboard system, it appears. Or you could save the $100, go with the Toy Shock, and
well, as of right now, it's local leaderboards only, but you could see them maybe adding global leaderboards via firmware. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean that's possible. I'm just thinking, from what I'm seeing, if I'm spending $500 on a pinball machine, it's not this. And I'm not trying to give this thing a hard time. I'm just trying to think of everything that you're getting.
No, it's. I mean, if you look at what $500 gets you on any of this 3/4 scale market, this is not at the top of the list. Period. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is something that I think would fit better in at a $399 price point. And going back to what Mike said, it may entirely be true that the reason why they weren't really providing information is because of lack of confidence. But it also could be that they are aware of what their competitors are putting out there. So the less information they provide,
The better.
but yeah, the better. It could potentially lead to more sales. I mean, they've obviously got these units out in the market. So maybe what they were hoping for is like I don't want to call it a cash grab, but the idea is that they're coming out trying to take as much of the market as they can with an inferior product, and then
it's the carnival model. They gotta leave town afterwards.
Oh my god! Did somebody say that in the chat?
No.
that's just Mike with his dark sense of humor.
Yeah, but the reality of it is that the people that are going to buy this aren't watching this show. They aren't on our forums. You know what I mean? They're going to come across GameStop and there's some pinball, and they're not going to know much different than that. So they're going to get the sales as a result of that. So whatever they have in stock, they're most likely going to move. Now, whether they're able to create a new edition and make it better, that's yet to be seen.
So
see,
I'll throw something else out there too. If we didn't have Toy Shock, if we didn't have AtGames and Arcade1Up, and these are all performing above really their price point, in my opinion. I haven't got to play one yet, but from what I've seen, they're performing above. When you compare the price point on this compared to what you comparatively get for a $2,000 virtual pinball table, is $500 a good price point for this, or is it still overpriced?
No,
just take the other ones out of the equation.
You can't, because we already know what can be done in the same price point. So my perspective is that, assuming there was absolutely nothing else on the market, this is a good option. The problem is that it would leave a bad taste in most people's mouths. You'd get it. It wouldn't really feel like pinball. You're playing this thing for maybe a week, and then you're just going to stick it in the garage or the shed or the basement or whatever, throw it out, sell it to somebody. That's not going to do the industry any good. You want manufacturers that are coming in the commercial sense to be doing the game justice. You don't want to just you don't want to put a bad taste in people's mouths with products like this.
What are folks saying in the chat, guys? Because I can't see.
Most of the comments are saying, how bad of a pinball player you are. Hey, P-Dubs, can you shake it to make sure that the accelerometer in there isn't actually, like, there's not one in there? Like, good shake. Come on.
Shut up. There's not.
Well, so again, the people who are going to buy this are going to go to GameStop. They're going to hear about some pinballs available, because they're not in the stores. They're only online. If they search on a month ago, if they searched on pinball, it was probably the only pinball that was available, right? They're searching on pinball today. They're seeing this next to Marvel. They're seeing this next to Star Wars for $49 more or $48 more. There's no way they're going to buy that.
You see, I got
no side next to those two now.
My honest thoughts is, I mean, they did this version and they also did a bar top, right?
Correct.
So my thought would be that the bar top is where they should have let it stop, because nobody's really expecting accelerometers and solenoids or haptic feedback in any way on those types of devices anyways.
Correct.
And maybe that's and if the price point was $199 as well, I think that would have been a win. That would have made this an acceptable or palatable purchase. But At $500 for what we see here, it's a 100% pass.
Yeah,
So
the
you
bar
see-
top is $299 currently, so $300
Hey.
for the bar top.
And you see what happens there, guys, is the ball, if you've been playing virtual pinball, you know the ball's going to go right down the middle in between the flippers, and you want to hit a left or right nudge to save the ball from flushing, right? And so like you just saw in that last roll there's no left or right nudge. There's nothing I could do.
Well, Jeff is suggesting that you give this machine away. We do a trivia question, and I agree.
I just don't understand how that got past testing. How did somebody who obviously knows something about pinball that was involved in this project agree to approve this, knowing that there is no left and right nudge, knowing how important that is to pinball, to the experience? How did that get out to market like this?
Well, who are you putting at blame there?
I'm putting Well Played at blame. They're
Okay.
testers. I mean, did they not have quality testing? People that knew pinball before releasing a pinball product?
That's a tough question to answer, because I don't know that. I mean, there's a lot of people who jump into industries because they think there's a growing potential for profiting, and they're not in it for the right reasons. And I'm not saying you always have to be in the right industry for the right reasons. But generally speaking, you should do a little bit of research. You should do a little bit of like a study or a survey in the communities that you want to sell to maybe see what you should include and shouldn't include. Those are things that we've seen from all the other people in the space. They engage. I did reach out to these guys when I first heard about them. I think P-Dubs, you did as well, and I got ghosted. Not that I'm really anything to talk about, but it's interesting the approach they took, because they really only provided information to one YouTuber, and Cool Toy is probably one of the better ones to provide that information to, because he's really good at like just unbiased reporting.
Yeah.
So like that's good, but it would have made more sense to potentially, expand that reach. And it just seems a little strange. The entire business model as a whole seems strange.
Sorry, guys.
Well, in all fairness, even when Arcade1Up first came out, they weren't doing the best of promoting. No one's going to come on the same level as Jong in promoting this industry. So, you know what I mean? But yeah, by no measure did they come out the right way with promoting this. Again, no one's really played virtual pinball at this price level, right? Before, so it's a new thing. The GameStop people just saw pinball. You couldn't miss it. It had pinball splattered all over, so it must be a good thing, right? So let's get it. Let's put it on here. It's gonna go down. It's gonna go down in price pretty quickly. I think in the next couple of months. At a lower level, at a lower price level, I think people will snatch it up.
Hey, Mike, when are we going to get the RetroMania pinball machine? When is that going to happen? Let's have a wrestling pinball machine. Come on, man.
It's in the works. It's in the works.
Now, Mike, have you played any virtual pinball at all?
I really haven't, not in really years. I had something on a laptop that I would just mess around with. I think it might have been on Windows at some point, or I downloaded it. This is years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like my brother has one of the old Spider-Man pinball at his house, and I don't know. I've played virtual. I don't know if I'm hesitant because I don't know how it can be like an actual table, just the experience of an actual table. But to be honest, I haven't really given it much try. I was never a huge pinball player. I think I'm not sure. One of you said it before, where you weren't good at it, so you didn't play it a lot because you didn't have the money. And that was me the same way. I was a little better at video games, so I tend to play them arcade machines more than pinball machines. So I don't have the same nostalgia for pinball as I do arcade machines. So I guess I really got into it.
Yeah, pinball is a little hard to get into because it's so expensive to jump in, and I mean the game can be over like instantaneously.
Right, and that's why the nudge is so important to even have a chance of playing it for more than a few seconds. But yeah, I was the same way. That was me, Mike, that said that earlier. And when I got into it was this time last year, I was building my virtual pinball, and I had the same thing. I was like, there's no real tables that's like, oh man, I remember playing this from
Right.
childhood because I didn't play any of them for more than a few seconds. But of the list of tables that were available to me at the time, I went with Spider-Man. So that's my
Yeah.
virtual cabinet is Spider-Man, and that table. I don't know if your brother has the Stern version, but that Spider-Man table is so much fun. I play that thing a few times each week. I enjoy that, and I've been going back and playing some other tables and expanding my reach. And there's a lot of fun tables out there, you know. So I think once you start to playing it, it is very fun, you know. But again, you got to think a lot of these tables were designed for you to lose your ball so they can get more quarters
Right.
out of you, you know. Um, and so Mike is the game genie is always talking about liking the old school games and be authentic, and that's the draw. uh, some people like that. Some people don't like it because the ball is going to shoot down the middle. And so these, like the Star Wars and the Marvel that the Arcade1Up has put out, you know, those tend to be totally different than the old school because they're not designed to get your quarter because they've already gotten your money, right? You know, so
They're
so you can
video
play
games.
things, right? Yeah, they're video.
They're not
They're like
pinball. They're
comic.
video games.
Yeah, they're comic strip games with around pinball, you know. So they really are two different experiences, and that's what people will discover as these pinball tables come out. Some people are going to like that newer thing, and people like me and Mike are going to like the older school. So that's why I say it's great that you have these different options to play because no one pinball table is going to appeal to everybody, you know.
I just looked it up. My brother has the Gottlieb.
Oh, okay, okay, yes, that's the real old school.
Yeah.
Hey, P Dubs.
Yeah.
We got some people saying move on to the next product.
Because you suck. They said because you suck in pinball.
Oh,
You guys got it.
Tough
Real
crowd.
quick though, guys. The you got to admit this table's cool looking with that skull and everything. You
yeah,
gotta admit
absolutely. P Dubs, can you do me a personal favor and play? I think it's called the Time Machine.
that. Yeah, I'll pull that out here. Let me just let it die. So we can quit. If you hold the two flippers on the two flipper button, I'm sorry, the two buttons on the right of the machine, it'll take you to the main menu. So
Yeah.
You want to see?
I'll
Time
tell you, the
Machine?
idea of building a machine is intriguing to me because I built my first main cabinet probably 15 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And that was I say I probably spent more time building it and messing with it than I did actually playing it.
I was
Mike,
still
you
in
should-
diapers 15 years ago.
Mike, you should check out Carl. Carl actually bought a pinball table called the Toy Shock, and he completely gutted that thing and has got it turned into like basically a multi-pin right now, don't you, Carl?
Yes, yes. And it really didn't take that much to do. It's just you have to learn, you know, that
Right.
pinball software. And there's different ones. Like people talk about future pinball. I've not had any success getting any of those future pinball tables to work and look nice and feel like a real pinball. I can't play the Zen on there as well, so I can't play those more modern games. But I tend to stick with the Attack from Mars when I am online with those, or the Gone fishing table,
Right.
because I just like the more old school stuff. But man, it's a lot of fun. Now I don't have any uh, uh what's the things Mike, what's the things that make the noise?
Accelerometers, solo.
Yeah,
Solenoid.
cell noise or the subwoofer bounce. But my speakers in there are so powerful, you know, as it's playing the music, I can feel all of that. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to play, and I can add those things at any time. That's the cool thing about it. The only thing about the Toy Shock is just not a whole lot of room inside of it.
Oh, I missed
And so that's why I'm excited about these bigger tables with the Legends Pinball and even Arcade1. Even though Arcade1 has the same size screen, so I couldn't see myself, you know, getting that to upgrade when it's got the same size screen I already have. But I like that you got more room in these things to be able to swap it out and mod it if you wish to do so.
Hey, P Dubs, for the next trick that you're going to do, everyone is requesting that you unplug the machine.
Oh, come on. All right. We're gonna come back here for some final thoughts in just a minute. So just hang
And Complete Geek TV was saying he's late to the party. P Dubs, he was asking about the quality of the screen and the artwork.
Oh, the screen is not good. The artwork is okay. So,
You just don't like the Christmas lights and the back glasses. You don't
Come
like
on.
the back glass at all, though.
Come on, the Christmas lights give it like a nice charm. It makes it feel like really. Oh, it adds to the value. You're paying $500. I would expect no less from a product at $500 than to have Christmas lights attached to it.
oh my god, you're hilarious. I'm trying to. I got my headset on, and all I hear is Nostalgia talking smack, and it's like I can't even focus on this. Oh, we unlocked multi-ball. I mean, this is nothing against Zakaria. Zakaria has some fun games, you know.
No, they have fantastic tables.
You know, it's just.
Yeah, you're talking about the presentation. You're talking about the.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around how a $500 product like this just feels weird that this is what you're getting for $500.
Well, yeah, there's some more stuff I got to tell you when I get back to the desk here in just a minute before we wrap things up.
Well, everybody says pull the plug and get back to the desk.
Oh,
I feel bad.
Yeah.
I just feel sad.
Well, you know, the good news is for people who like Zakaria, they're going to get to play it on AtGames machine natively. So there's that.
All right, let's get that off of there.
Yeah, I think that the tables are definitely worth playing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like right up to the screen watching. Like a
It was
goofball.
intriguing.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're back. So let's talk about it. So when it comes to the build quality, the screen is definitely not good. Like if you literally stand a few inches to the left or right, things start washing out on you. It looks good dead on. It looks good dead on, which is okay. I mean, that's how you play pinball, right?
Not me.
The back box is just got 2 rows of LED lights that are red, orange, and green. No, I'm sorry, red, blue, and green. Just Christmas lights that are just blinking. That it doesn't even light up the entire back box. When you have to take apart this thing, you have to. Do you guys know how when you pull the plastic covers off the Arcade1Up monitors, the that protect the screen during shipping?
Mm-hmm.
So this thing has got, you know, an acrylic bezel just like an Arcade1Up monitor, and I had to undo all 8 screws to get all the plastic off. You know how the plastic just kind of peeled on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Also on the back of the machine, I'll have to show you in the review video, it's very difficult to get to the connector to plug the cabinet into the back box the way they have it set up. I'll show you guys that in the review video. I had to disassemble the back box to plug in the connector because it's in a really bad spot. When it comes to the artwork on the cabinet, the vinyl's fine. There's nothing around the flippers though, so I have a feeling the artwork would wear. The pinball legs are real pinball legs. They're just really, really long. When it comes to the user interface needs some firmware fixes, but then again, because like that mouse cursor just going banana sandwich on you and stuff, it's really hard to navigate with the mouse cursor. You're going to end up just trying to navigate with the flipper buttons.
Never heard that saying before. Banana sandwich.
Yeah. Now I will applaud them though. This thing is running. It definitely feels like it's running at 60 frames per second as well as no flipper delay. Now, obviously on the stream we're doing, you guys probably saw a bunch of loss of frames, but we explained how that worked before we started playing the game. But because everything's like in 720p, like a lot of the tables, you could see that they've sacrificed some of the graphical quality and all that kind of stuff. It definitely doesn't look as good as, like, you know, I've been playing on another machine that has 1080p games, and those games look really good compared to, like, if you're at that machine, then come here, you notice the difference. You see all the jagged edges around everything, you know.
Audio.
There was another feature. Jeff was telling me in the chat, it's waterproof. Can we test that?
No.
Okay.
And then what else?
How's the audio?
The audio is actually not bad.
Okay.
Like the audio, yeah, like I had it really low, but you know, that was on low. Like we could have cranked it up, and it does get loud. Like, in all honesty, guys, for $500, I I could have got more for $500.
Don't say.
You know, and
Is it built like a tank? Can a 195-pound Spider-Man
No.
stand on top of it?
No, that's the thing. Like, what's nice about the Toy Shack and the Legends Pinball is those feel like you could like shake the hell out of them and the machine's not going to fall apart. Like this thing is, I mean, it's got 4 screws in each leg, but the screws are only like an inch long, like an inch long. It doesn't have like long bolts, you know what I'm saying, or anything like that. It does not feel like a tank. You know what I'm saying? So,
What does it feel like, P-Dubs? Tell us.
It feels like a
go kart.
Like a Ford Pinto, not a tank. So,
Ford Pinto.
Yeah. So, in all honesty,
Nostalgia doesn't know what a Ford Pinto is.
No, I have no idea. No, I know what a Pinto is.
But I got to spend more time with it. I got to play more games. We'll do a review.
Do me a favor.
And then
when you
we'll
do a review,
yeah.
take out the board. Send me a picture of the board. I want to know what chipset they're actually using in there. I'm very curious to see. Because I'm wondering if you're saying it's 720p, I'm wondering if that's because it's limited by the hardware or it's limited by if they used an inexpensive 24-inch monitor.
It's not a good monitor. Like it's not. So I don't know. Like in all honesty, guys, I'm disappointed. Mike's like, oh man, these guys are a bunch of haters. I'm sitting around watching these haters, but you know, we're just guys. I got to be honest with the fans. If this thing was really cool, I would tell you. But it just doesn't feel really cool.
That's why Mike wants to be on our good side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So P-Dubs, someone was asking about the return policy with.
Yeah, I don't know. Can I do a review video then return it for a refund? I don't know. Is there anyone out there looking to rent a pinball machine? Maybe we could. For
$500.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can rent it out forever.
Yeah. So, you know, we've had over 200 folks watching for a while, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. I know this has been a long show. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to be keeping it, and just being honest with everybody, but let me spend some more time with it and see, you know what I mean? What's a shame is, you know, their website's not live, so you can't find out any information on the company, the product, or anything like that. You know, there's been no news about when you can go to their store. It's just, and there's nothing there. It just, you know, it just says store coming soon. You know what I mean? So, you know, what if I get rid of it, but they end up adding some really cool games?
But you still don't have like Nudge,
or I don't have Nudge,
or a good monitor.
Yeah, I just have forward nudge. Guys, how do you play pinball with just forward nudge? Am I crazy? Like, can you play virtual pinball with just forward nudge? Let me know, guys, in the chat. Like, if I'm
on your iPad, you can.
I don't know. All right. Let's say, Mike, when are we going to get Stone Cold Steve Austin in RetroMania Wrestling? Let's change.
As soon as you sign him for me, I am game for that.
Yeah, actually, my cousin used to be Stone Cold Steve Austin's bodyguard.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's pretty interesting. He did bodyguard work for The Rock and Stone Cold.
I would love to get both of them. That would probably help sales.
I could imagine that'd be a relatively expensive venture.
Yeah. I do have a question. Is there any possibility we'll see some DLC characters in the future for RetroMania Wrestle?
Yeah, so definitely, we already have one already announced, who's Chris Bay, who was also in our Indie Mania tournament, who's now on Impact Wrestling. Who we just really liked him, got to know him a little bit, and we signed him before he went to Impact. Again, my theory saying if you RetroMania is the gateway to bigger and better things. And then we have 2 other guys signed that we haven't announced yet.
John.
One is a current wrestler, and the other one is a legend.
Wow.
And then we are hopefully going to add some more throughout the year. So that's the plan. Obviously, it's dictated by, you know, how well the game does. Hopefully, we did our job right. Everybody loves it, and we'll be able to reinvest back into the game. So,
yep. Yeah, guys, when I record the video on just real quick about this pinball before we turn everybody loose, I'll obviously record it 60 frames per second, 4K, get it uploaded. That way you guys can make your own informed decisions. Very excited, guys. Make sure you stay tuned in the next 6 weeks or so. RetroMania Wrestling is coming to a home near you. If you have an iiRcade, you're going to love playing this game on that machine. I can feel it in my bones, Mike. I'm super excited about this. And thanks so much for putting me in the game. And hopefully we can get all the Game Room dudes in there as soon as possible. Guys, do us a favor and make sure you subscribe to all the hosts. I know this was a really long episode tonight. I'm exhausted. Detroit Love, any final thoughts, comments, farewells, as well as my other co-hosts?
Mike, we just want to thank you for coming on and sharing that. We're
Yeah.
excited for that to come. I got this cabinet here. I definitely want to play it on there. And there's a request in the chat for us to play some Bum Squad online. So we definitely have to set that up and air that out, guys.
Yeah, we should do that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Michael B.
I'm just elated. The idea that I could possibly be in the sequel to WrestleFest, you have no idea how happy that made me. That would make my life, man. So, Mike, if you can make it happen, you will forever have a fan in Michael B. the Game Genie. Trust me.
Now you're giving him peer pressure and guilt tripping him. Nostalgia, any
No.
final thoughts?
That pinball machine was pretty sweet.
Well, before Detroit Love sends us on our way, guys, just a couple quick comments. So next week, we're looking on having a mega show. You definitely don't want to miss next week's episode. That's all I have to say. It's going to be mega. Also, what else? I thought we had to. Oh, we might be back as well on Monday to talk about Arcade1Up announcing Hubert. Look forward to the reaction to Hubert on Monday. Make sure you guys tune in Monday. We'll probably have a reaction show as well. And then, of course, guys, when it comes to the well played, not so well played. Whenever you're ready, Carl.
All right, guys. So make sure you check out all of our YouTube channels. Like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys. And until next time, we'll see you on the web.